Hi guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have something that is absolutely as incredibly cool as it gets. I am so excited to bring something brand new to you guys. It is a brand new kaiju figure from a company that is really just beginning to make their mark in the kaiju collecting community. This is from Tolzar Toys, and if you remember, I did promote the release of this figure, the pre-order of this figure, quite a little ways back in a news video. This is the Son of Krawju, and it looks so unbelievably awesome. By far one of the coolest looking kaiju figures I have ever seen. But this is, again, something that is part of a line of kaiju. The main character, King Krawju, which is worshipped by a shaman and his tribe. And they are basically kaiju figures that are based on swamp creatures from Louisiana, which is where Tolzar Toys is from. So I think the entire idea behind this is just so cool and so unique, so different, that it's one of the many reasons that I have very quickly fallen in love with this line. And you can see as we kind of move along, look at how cool the art is. That is absolute insanity. It looks so cool over here, and I love the fact that, again, it's kind of like, you know, black and white and stuff, almost a throwback to old school monster movies, old school kaiju movies and stuff. And you can see Tolzar Toys over here on the side, some more very nice looking artwork. And as we continue to move along to the other side, you can see again the Tolzar Toys logo down there, and then this really nice, very high quality, ooh, we gotta turn it, very high quality box. And you can see up here on the top again Tolzar Toys along with the claw of our kaiju. And I love this part here, summon with caution. Definitely genius to put that on here. I don't know if there's anything on the underside, just basically some standard information. And actually we have the Titanic Creations logo down here as well, which we are all very familiar with Titanic Creations here on this channel. So let's go ahead, pop this box open, and check out our incredibly cool Son of Krawju. And here is our Son of Krawju, the, I guess, child of King Krawju, and look at how insane this figure is. Man, this thing is about the coolest looking kaiju figure ever. Absolutely as epic as it gets, and it looks so alive. It is crazy how lifelike this thing actually is in person. I will say, what factory they use, whatever factory it is fantastic when it comes to the overall paint quality of their products. This thing looks absolutely 110% alive. So I'm going to readjust the camera so we can bring it in here and get a nice closer look. So starting up here, of course, in the head sculpt of our Son of Krawju, you can see again, as I already stated, it is absolutely incredible. Not just when it comes to the sculpt, but again, the paintwork. But when you do move through again, look at how insanely impressive the sculpt is. This is as highly detailed of a kaiju crustacean that you are ever going to find. Not that we have all that many out there, but it is, again, super next level highly detailed. And you can see that as I just kind of move through, you know, looking over the top of the head and everything. And not to mention the paintwork is so expertly applied. You've got all of these nice variations of color and also some nice dark washes. And I love the way that they've taken kind of like some of the dark washes, almost like orangish browns, and then kind of applied them in between the different sections of the creature, which looks really cool and definitely helps to highlight all of the detail, honestly, quite perfectly. But the entire figure overall does have a nice dark wash that really helps to make all of the detail pop. You can also see the eyes are painted with a picture-perfect glossy black. Same deal for the antenna sticking out here in the front. It all has that nice glossy black applied to it, but the entire figure as a whole does have a really nice wet look to it because, again, it is a kaiju crustacean, so you're going to expect it to be pretty wet, and they've perfectly applied that on the figure overall. As you move down here into the underside, again, the sculpt is insane. Look at the detail down here. if my camera, there we go, I was going to say if my camera focuses correctly, the detail is absolute insanity. And again, the paintwork is so picture perfect and precise. You can see that they've really taken a lot of care when painting this out and making sure that the paint looks about as realistic but also as picture perfect and perfectly placed as it can get. I also really love the bluish tone that we have moving along the lower part, you know, the underside of the head, down into the underbelly of our Son of Krawju. That is really, really cool. And there's actually even variation to the blues. You can see, again, lighter and darker shades, and again, all of it having that very impressive gloss coat to it, making it shine very realistically. As we move up into the top of our Son of Krawju, up into the carapace area, you can see all kinds of really nice kind of spikes and everything picking up here on the top of the figure. And on top of that, again, the fine detail of said spikes is super, super impressive. If my camera decides to focus, there we go. You can see how it just has like all the tiniest little cracks and crevices, which are perfectly brought out with the paintwork again, and the way that they've applied the washes, which are applied honestly perfectly. I love the nice tone of color that they've chosen for the spikes up here on the top, because not only is it a really nice realistic tone of color, but I feel like it plays off of the color of the body of the kaiju really impressively as well. And they've done a very good job of applying kind of like dark washes, especially closer to the body, in a little bit more of an intense fashion, so it can transition out to lighter tips for those spikes. And they do all have kind of like a genuine sharp look to them, which also makes them extremely impressive. Another thing that I'm really picking up on as we move through is the fact that there's like some purplish tones that have been applied sporadically moving through the figure, which is really cool. As we move down into the arm, you can see, of course, that we've got a very nicely sculpted arm, and even though it is basically like leading out to the claw, he's found a way to really apply like some musculature to that area, making this again look obviously very strong. As we move out into the actual claw, it looks so good. Again, the actual sculpt is crazy impressive. As we lead down, look at how good the texturing is, and again, how good the paintwork brings out all of that fine detail. This is like next level quality here. And as you move along, you can see again some more of those lighter tones on the insides, with the very nice kind of jagged edge to the pinchers of our kaiju, the claws of our kaiju, and that looks really good as well. Again, the paintwork is just perfect everywhere. As we move back up into the back, again, you see more spikes, some really big ones right here, all sculpted and painted the same way as the ones that we had seen further up on the top of the kaiju. And as we continue to move down along the back, look at how incredible the quality of this figure is. I'm honestly like so blown away by how realistic and just how impressive this thing is. I kind of wish that I had acquired some of the other figures that they had released prior to this, like King Krawju himself. And as you move down, you can lead into the tail of our kaiju, which does actually kind of loop around here and basically bend into the underside of the Son of Krawju. But again, the sculpt, the paint, everything is incredible. You can even see just some slight variation to the color that makes it so lifelike. Moving along the legs, you can as well again see the musculature shown off, and I like that they've given these areas here the lighter tone of color, also really showing off just again how muscular this kaiju is. And then as you move down into the foot sculpt, well, first of all, as we lead basically into like the knee area, look at how, again, impressive the sculpt and paint is, and all of the variation of color. We've got some nice like orangish browns and stuff here in the front. But as you move down into the foot sculpt, again, the foot sculpt is absolutely as spectacular as you are ever going to find for a kaiju figure. And then you lead out into the claws, which again have the same style of paintwork and everything, with the brown wash again leading out to a very nice light tone for the tips. As you move to the side, you can see again the two claws leading off of the front of the feet, and then you've got one claw on the back of both of the feet. You can actually see the underside of the tail as well. Features that gorgeous bluish tone, which just adds that very nice element of flashiness to the underside. But that's impressive as well. Like when you lead to the underside of the tail, one area that's very rarely going to be seen, you can still see again how much incredible sculpt and incredible paintwork that is applied down here, showing you that Tolzar Toys does not cease anywhere. Like, it is next level quality. Honestly, I don't think I've ever had a kind of vinyl model in general, not even just a vinyl kaiju model, but a vinyl model with such impressive quality. The only thing I can think of to compare would be the Titanic Creations Gorgo that I have would be of similar quality, and a few of the Star Ace models, but this is, again, probably one of, if not the highest quality kaiju figures that I have ever seen, especially when it comes to the vinyl type of a model, which I feel like is just a nostalgic kind of a feel. If you have been collecting models for a long period of time, large vinyl models like this are just really going to kind of tug at your heartstrings. And this, again, on top of looking incredible, even being the Son of Krawju, is still pretty darn big. For a length, if we go from, I guess, the antenna to the back, you are looking at a little bit over 7.5 inches, heading towards 7 3/4, or about 19.5 centimeters. If we go for a height to the top of the head, you're looking at about 7 inches and like an eighth, maybe approaching 7 1/4, or about 18.5 centimeters. I don't know how else I can get a measurement on this guy, so I think we'll just probably leave it at that as far as the measurement goes. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day Human Being next to our Son of Krawju from Tolzar Toys. And you can see that the figure is quite large next to all of the other figures that I have here next to it, showing you that, again, it is a pretty big figure. Now, when it comes to some kaiju figures that are of kind of a similar size, but you can very clearly see that the Son of Krawju just has more body mass to it. But you have the Dope Pope Yong here next to the Son of Krawju, showing you that, again, when it comes to size, Krawju definitely wins, especially, like I said, as far as like the bulkiness of the body goes. We've also got the Hiya Toys Godzilla 2014 version, which we can very clearly see is a bit smaller. And even bringing in the larger, more impressively sized King of the Monsters Godzilla from Hiya Toys, you can still see, again, that the Son of Krawju definitely has more body mass to it. Especially if I turn it to the side, you can now really see again how impressively sized that figure is. These two are a good bit closer in size to each other though, which again continues to show you how impressive this is, because the King of the Monsters Godzilla from Hiya Toys is pretty decently sized. We've also got a Playmates figure here, as we have a Shimo next to the Son of Krawju, which you can see again, Shimo's much smaller. We've even got the Bandai Varan, which is very clearly a good bit smaller. And then we're going to see the same situation when I bring in the Bandai Titanosaurus, which as well is quite a bit smaller. We've got the Rixan Custom Toys Stan Winston Godzilla, which is again quite a bit smaller. It's only when we bring in the Titanic Creations large vinyl Gorgo I was speaking of that we finally have something that is a good bit larger than our Son of Krawju. But you can see that again, both of these look super cool next to each other. So this Tolzar Toys Son of Krawju is by far one of the coolest kaiju figures I have ever acquired, and also one of the most impressive efforts from a newer company that I've ever seen. Sometimes it takes companies a little while to really, get their footing and figure out what they're doing, but it looks like Tolzar Toys, I don't know exactly how long they've been around, but I don't think they've been around for a very long time, and to see such impressive quality from a company that isn't super established and hasn't been around for years and years and years is really mind-blowing. And again, not just such impressive quality, but by far some of the best quality I have ever seen in a kaiju release. Not to mention the overall design of this is fantastic. It's very creative, extremely well done, extremely well thought out, and perfectly utilized in the final product. And on top of that, the sculpt and fine detail on this is on another level. Very few companies produce figures that are as highly detailed as you see on this Son of Krawju, which is one of the many reasons why not only you should acquire this insane model, but also why you really need to follow them and keep an eye out on them. I know I certainly will be, again, moving forward. Not that I haven't been since I found out about them, but moving forward, I will absolutely be watching each and every release that they put out, because this thing, again, is of unreal quality, and the paintwork is fantastic. There's so much variation of color that has been so perfectly and expertly applied, and obviously so carefully applied, to give me also one of the best painted models that I have ever seen. And again, they did such a great job on this, bringing it to life, that even though, again, it is a very stylized kaiju, it looks 110% alive standing here on my review station. And in fact, so much so that I'm very tempted to go mess with my kids with this thing and maybe put it in the corner of my daughter's room and have her freak out when she comes in. Maybe, we'll see. That might be a little mean, but I think it would make for a pretty funny situation. Regardless, again, the realism of this and the paintwork is just off the charts. So if you are interested in grabbing this, and I highly recommend that you do, I will include a link in the description to the Tolzar Toys website where you can get a hold of this through there, and you can also follow them on their social medias, which I will also include in the description. I have to give a massive shout out and a thank you to Tolzar Toys for actually allowing me to get this one here in my hands a little bit earlier than they are actually releasing, which definitely helped me get this review up nice and early for us to check out, because these are actually, I think, beginning to ship in July is the last I had heard. So again, a little bit early as far as the access to this one, which is really exciting. So again, a massive thank you to them. And again, if you are interested, I will include those links in the description. Make sure you pick up this insane kaiju figure, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.